Okay, so the other day, Google is my dog, by the way, and we were just chilling on my desk when I thought about it. What if he needed to run the same thing that I am running on my PC? Is it going to be that easy for him? I got up that instant and I started finding out ways in which I can make it easy for him. That is when I found out about Docker. So, Docker is something that lets you run anything that you have on one PC on another PC, regardless the operating system, regardless if you have installed any directories, regardless of what all, if Python is installed, if it's not installed, if okay, you get the gist. Okay, so before we actually get our hands dirty, we are going to understand the difference between a virtual machine and a container. So people often confuse these two as they work actually almost the same, but there is a major difference. Here, as you can see, we have our host OS. So basically it's any piece of hardware, whether you're running it on the cloud or there is some piece of hardware in a data center somewhere, or you are accessing it through the net, anything. It's just a piece of hardware, right? So it has a CPU, a memory, and an interface, many other things, right? So here what a virtual machine actually does is that it takes some part of the hardware and it creates another machine inside your machine. So as you can see here, we are taking some part of this hardware and we are creating another machine. So if you've actually worked with a virtual machine before, you might have seen that during the prerequisites, it makes you configure some of the hardware settings, which includes the RAM, the CPU space you want to give, and all that. So basically what it's doing is taking some part of your memory and it's creating a host OS. You can run any machine on any machine. So if I wanted, I can run a Mac on a Windows on a Mac on a Linux, anything, right? So that's how virtual machine works. But what is so special about containers then, right? Virtual machines have been around for quite some time and so have containers, but containers are usually not given that much importance. So here, as you can see, we have another flowchart of containers. So as you can see, our host OS does not lend any resources. It basically takes a process that is running on the system. So let's say the process is using some RAM, it's using some CPU, it's using some hardware, and it creates a container which is totally isolated from the host PC. Now, another thing I forgot to mention here is that in a virtual machine, it uses something called a hypervisor. So you might have seen companies like VMware and VirtualBox using hypervisors. So that program that lends the resources is called a hypervisor, right? And that is virtual machine and VMware, right? So here in containers, in our host OS, some processes are running and we can do this manually as well, right? So we have to limit the resources that we are giving it and we have to create some processes inside the host system, right? So we are using chroot and rlimit to create the processes. But if we don't want to do it manually, we can do it in just 5 to 10 minutes by automating it through Docker, right? So Docker is basically, it's a container program that creates another process. It creates a file. So basically how Docker works is that it creates a Docker file in which you have to specify some commands that it has to run. It creates a memory of the things that it's doing on your system. And once you create that same Docker container, you run it on your friend's PC or anywhere else, it runs exactly the same. So as we told earlier, you don't actually have to worry if those things are actually installed in other computers that you're using. So if you're running something on this computer and you have created a container around it, you can run it on any piece of hardware in the entire world. So now let's actually get our hands dirty and see how Docker works in the command line. Okay, so now here in my Mac machine, I have got a Parrot OS running virtually. So I have another machine running right there and I have connected it through SSH, right? So here, if you are working with a Windows machine or a Mac machine, it'll work fine. But if you are into cybersecurity, ethical hacking, and if you're working technically, I advise you to go to an open source operating system where you can configure most of the files, because Windows and Mac are user-based operating systems, and if you're working in code and if you're working technically, Linux is a much better option. So here Parrot OS is a Debian distribution that I'm running, right? So here right now I'm on the Docker docs page. So I'm on docs.docker.com/engine/ I'll just put it in the description below. And here, as you can see, we are on the engine installation. So you can also use the desktop version. So if you just go on Google and if you just search for Docker installation, it will show you a desktop version. And if you're on Mac or Linux, desktop version will probably work better for you, right? So here, as you can see, we can just follow all these steps. You can just copy paste all these commands. And if you are in Debian, Ubuntu, and all these operating systems, you can just copy paste the commands and it will install Docker in your system. All right. So here I have Docker already installed, right? So to check if it's working fine, and if you're working with Docker for the first time, I advise you to do this step. So it's Docker images. First check your images, and we don't have the hello world image. Okay, so just type Docker run hello world. Okay, so it'll take some time to run because I'm running a lot of systems on my PC right now, so it'll take some time. Okay, so let's just break this down step by step and understand what's going on. So here, as you can see, it's showing that it's unable to find hello world latest. So what this latest does is that it's a default that Docker uses, and it's basically specifying the version of hello world that we want to pull from the Docker hub. So whenever you just don't specify this parameter, it just takes it to be latest, right? So we don't have this locally, right? So it's going on to the Docker hub. It will be going on to the Docker hub, and it is pulling, right? So as you can see, it's pulling it from the Docker hub, right? So what is the Docker hub? Let's just go and check it out. Okay, so if you go on Docker hub, if you go on right here, so it's basically an image library that lets you run all sorts of systems on your Docker machine, right? So as AI is very popular these days, so there are TensorFlow, PyTorch, Python, and also, right? So we won't be working with any of these today. I just wanted to show you if you wanted to work on further projects with Docker, right? So I'll leave all these links in the description below if you want to check them out. So here, as you can see, it's showing the status downloaded newer image of hello world latest. So it's just showing hello from Docker. This message shows you installation appears to be working correctly. That's good news. And okay, so to generate this message, Docker took the following steps. Okay, so first what it did, it contacted the Docker daemon. Okay, so we learned that. And the Docker daemon pulled hello world image from the Docker hub. So that's what we just saw. The Docker daemon created a new container from the image which runs the executable and produces the output currently reading. Okay, so what it did, basically this is a Docker image that we just pulled. So it has some files, it has a specific work that it has to do. So even if it had some libraries, so it doesn't, it's just a text file. But if this image had some libraries installed or it needs some fonts to be installed, we would be able to run it even if it's not installed on our system, even if the libraries are not installed on our system, right? So that's the whole point of Docker, to make everything universal. All right, so we have some recommendations from Docker, but we don't need them because we are very smart. Okay, so next what we want to do is that we want to create a Docker container from ourselves. So let's just look at what I've got. So we have a Docker example, right? So I'll leave this in the GitHub page, also in the description, but let's just check out and see what's going on here. So let's just cat these two files. Okay, so here I'll just make it big. All right, so here, as you can see, this is a Docker file. I'll just cat the other file as well. So that's called message, right? So as you can see, this is a bash file, and bash is basically a command line language, right? So we specified some phrases right here. So there are 3 phrases. All right, so you can, this is an array of phrases if you don't know. All right, so in bash, this is how you create an array. And so it has a random index. So basically what this line is doing, if you don't know bash, this might be a bit confusing for you, but what you can do is that if you want to change some of these phrases, all you have to do is you have to select them. I can just nano the file. So you have to nano message.sh. Oh, whoops. Okay, so and you can change these to whatever you want. All right, so I can just change this to, okay, so anything you want, and just save the file. So right here, as you can see, we have got the phrases. We are selecting random phrases, right? So we are selecting one from these or this array, and then the selected phrase is just the random index. So selected phrase is And so basically what the random index is doing is that, so let's say we have an index 0, 1 and 2, so it's selecting a random index. That's all what it's doing. And the selected phrase is getting that indexed phrase from the phrases array and just saving it in the variable. And here figlet, so basically what figlet is, we'll learn it in the Docker file when we look at it. So figlet dash w f Star Wars, so I'll just explain that in a sec. All right, so here we just looked at this. So we want it to come from Ubuntu, from the latest directory, right? And here we are running apt-get update and apt-get install, and we want figlet. So basically what figlet is that it's a font based website, if you want to say, so you can see right here, so we have got figlet. So basically it's an ASCII art website. So we want the Star Wars art because, why not? So we got the Star Wars art from figlet. I'll just show you that in a sec. So we have this URL right here, right? So if you want to, you can visit this URL. So what we are doing is that we are creating ASCII art through our Docker image. And even if you don't have figlet installed, you can do it. So we have got this installed, as you can see right here. So if we just go right here, and we can go right here and we can find the Star Wars art, and we can just put that in the URL here. It works for any font you want. And here we are just saving it in the share directory. All right, so what we are doing now is that we are taking the message.sh right here, the file we had, and we are getting all the commands, that everything that it is outputting into the Docker image. So basically we are copying it. We are using chmod plus x. So what it does is that it changes the permission to the file, because Docker, we want it to run universally, right? So we want all the permissions we can get. So reading, writing, editing of the file. And then in last, we are just pulling a command and we are running this file right here. All right. So this is something that needs to be installed in a system before you run this file, right? So as you can see, if I just go on and run this file right here, which is /message.sh. Okay, so it's showing me permission denied. That's why I ran the chmod x. So if I do that, it will show me that figlet is not installed. So let me just show you. Okay, so let's do chmod plus x, and we can do message.sh. Now if I list it, as you can see, it's in green and it's bolded. So if I run that command again, as you can see, it's unable to open the font file because it's not installed, because we have not run the Docker file yet. But Docker will solve these problems. So whenever you run this kind of file into any PC and figlet is not installed, it won't work, right? But if you have Docker and you know Docker, as you do now, you can run it in a GIF. All right, so as you can see, we can just go on. Let me just clear the screen. And here we'll run Docker build, and then just create a command of the image you want, create a name of the image you want. So let's say I go on ASCII art. You can name it whatever you want and just press a dot after that. This is the syntax of Docker. All right. Okay, so we also have to specify a flag right here. Okay, so right, build, and then we have to specify the name -t and ASCII art. Press enter, and it's building the container. So basically you can also do this manually. You can create a container. You have to learn a lot about bash, you have to learn a lot about the shell, but Docker eliminates that problem and it creates a container for you. Now, as you can see, the first thing that it did is that, okay, so that's really complicated stuff. I'm glad I don't have to do it because Docker is there, right? So it's going one by one through all the commands that I had. So as you can see, it's going through the run command, then the wget command, then, every command, and it's running everything through Docker, right? So now we will have a Docker image ready. So as you can see, we are naming the image ASCII art, right? So to check out if it's worked or not, I can just go on Docker images, whoops, right? And we have got an ASCII art image right here, right? So we have got two images, hello world and ASCII art. So this one we pulled from the Docker hub, as you can do, and here this one that we created. Now you can create this Docker image. If you have Docker anywhere installed, you can just pull this image and that will be job well done. Okay, so that's how you use Docker. I hope you liked it. If you did, be sure to smash that like button down there, subscribe to the channel, and check out more of our videos if you like to learn about cybersecurity and ethical hacking. If you want some more videos about Docker, about the Linux system, about Bash, just put it down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time.